We're live here in the shop, and I think we got volume now. If I need to cut it down, you let me know. I'm going to cut it up a little bit here, but we had a few technical difficulties on the inaugural broadcast, but thanks to some good friends, we got it all worked out. We're going to sit here and tell you some stories from the road of Paul Martin. I've got two balls here. I've got a red ball and I've got a green ball. When I got the red ball, Paul can't talk. But when I got the green ball, Paul's authorized to say whatever he wants to. So it's open mic right now. I'm going to give him the green ball. And Paul, you can go. What's your situation on this story? What do you remember about the night in Cookville?
I just remember that there was this incident where Rusty we was actually playing a tournament, what actually was happening. And after the tournament was over, this gentleman decides he wants to gamble and play my friend Rusty over here a little pool. And so Rusty played this gentleman probably about 9 racks and 9 ball and beat him every time. And then he decides he got an extra 100 in his pocket. And the guy's drunk anyway. And I mean, he's got an extra 100 in his pocket. He's like, I just want to gamble. I just want to gamble.
Yeah, there you go. But you get like you get it.
So
don't get belligerent.
So what actually happened is Rusty took him up on his offer and he gambled with the guy. And then they got about halfway through the rack, and Rusty takes it easy on the gentleman and misses on purpose because he knows this guy ain't gonna make nothing because he ain't made nothing all night. So he leaves the ball, the 8 ball, hung up in the hole, missed on purpose where he can make it from anywhere. And the guy misses like we expected him to. And then
you don't remember the rest of it.
Rusty brings the ball off the rail and it goes in the hole that he called. And then this gentleman proceeds to say, "You didn't call off rail."
And then here's what happened in the pool room. The 15 people that was watching and laughing at this drunk guy decides, hey man, it doesn't matter how that ball goes in the hole as long as he calls that pocket. And that dude just disagreed. He said, if you bank it in, you got to call it or whatever. If it goes off a rail, you got to call it. And that's actually not the rule. If you've ever been around any kind of professional pool at all, you know that hey, if the ball goes in the pocket you called, it don't matter if it goes 10 rails or 11 or 2 or whatever. If it goes in that pocket, you win the game. Anyway, I just shot the ball straight in the hole and it barely brushed the rails and went in. And the guy decides he didn't lose. And all his balls are still on the table. He hadn't made a ball yet. And anyway, he takes and he starts getting upset and real mad because he's just lost his $100. And I can understand that, but if he called me out, I wasn't going to bet him anyway. I was playing it for fun. And the funny part of this story is after about 30 minutes sitting there debating over the rules and all, the guy finally just said, you know what? He said, I think you're all wrong. But I told him, I said, man, I just got lucky and outrun you. And the guy whips out a gun. He says, I got something you can't outrun. Well, I look over and Paul's eyes are just they're the size of $50. Of course, mine were probably the same size, but I just tossed my stick to Paul. I said, hey, buddy, let's just get the fuck out of here.
And here's the look that was on my face, people.
No, it was uglier than that. But it was way uglier than that, Paul. I mean, that was just a fake, made-up face. No, that's nowhere near it. Keep trying. That is kind of like it, but you were slapping your leg. And, yeah, that. And I throwed him my post stick, and I headed for the door. I had a 10-yard head start on Paul, and he run me over. We both tried to squeeze through the door at the same time, and it just didn't work out. We dropped the stick, The guy's still after us with a gun. We finally come to our senses and we get to the car and I fire it up and we take off down the road. Well, Paul's tripping out. I'm thinking, man, we got away. What the guy didn't know was, like, during all the arguing and all that stuff, I done had the money off the lights, the $200 he put in my pocket. Well, Paul's tripping out. He's scared to death. He keeps looking back. I mean, he might as well have been in the back seat looking.
Yeah, because this was only the second time in my life I'd ever been attempted to be shot at.
Well, let's go back to that story. What was the first time you'd ever been shot at? Because I've never heard this story, and I'd like to hear it.
Well, I was down at Mark Boyd's house one time, and
that explains a lot.
And one of his uncles or something. We was down there frog gigging back in the hole, back in the pond, and we got done frog gigging. Evidently, we was on this gentleman's land, and when we got done frog gigging, his uncle or whoever this dude was, I never even met the guy, but Mark claimed he knowed him. This gentleman come out the house and was had a gun in his hand, was attempting to shoot at us, and I kid you not, people, I was doing 20 yards down that dadgum road by the time he pulled his gun out. I was boogieing.
Well, let me ask you this: what is your fastest 40 time you've ever ran up turning 4 field?
I would probably have to say 5.2.
So on that night, you're saying you run about a 4.6.
On that night, I probably ran about 4.1 because I was getting the hell out of there.
That's Deion Sanders type speed now. That's moving on.
Well, I mean, you just take into consideration you being shot at, you're going to move.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in that situation.
And this dog is kind of a little lonely.
Just so everybody knows, my dog's trying to hump the shit out of Paul Martin. He's about to get him some. Just so y'all know. Paul had an incident. There was a picture on my phone for a long time. I got Paul. I told him my dog was a professional wrestler, right? And he was in my living room floor over there. It was snowing outside, and we was watching pool on TV. I paid for the pay-per-view, and Paul, I went and picked him up. Actually, I think you walked that day, didn't you?
Yeah, that day I actually
It was snowing. He walked to watch pool 3 miles, and just come in without a damn coat on. I'm thinking, man, this guy's an idiot. Which, of course, all y'all know that. But anyway, I told him my dog was a professional wrestler at one time. Because Paul likes wrestling, and I even made up a name for my dog. I don't even remember what it was.
Speaking of the dog, he's back. He's back over here.
He's licking on.
He kind of rides with us about everywhere we go, and the dog.
It's just best to let him finish. So if he starts, don't try to stop him about shit out of him.
The dog anyway, he just loves people.
The picture I had, Paul Martin was down in the floor, and it started off, they was just kind of standing up. My dog was standing up on him, they was wrestling, and before it was over with, Paul was out of breath, and my dog was humping the shit out of him. And Paul finally gets rolled over on his back, and he gets the dog off of him. And I'm busting out laughing. I couldn't help but laugh. I was crying. My gut was hurting. I felt like I did like 200 sit-ups that day. And then as soon as Paul gets up to his feet, the dog tackles him again and wears him out one more time. And we're talking a puppy here. It's not a full-grown dog. He manhandled Paul Martin. I'm talking just manhandled. And if you could see the look in my dog's eyes right now, he knows we're talking about it. And he knows Paul is his bitch. He knows that. Look, he's wagging his tail. But he's going crazy over Paul. He loves it. He loves it. All right, sit. Talk to Paul. Talk to him. There you go. All right, sit down. Sit. All right, anyway, back to the story. We go on. All right, back to the story. Paul got manhandled in my living room by my dog, a little puppy chocolate lab. Now, me and Paul's driving down the road from the pool hall, and we just had a gun whipped out on us. And Paul's looking back. He might as well have been in the back seat because he was in the front seat backwards, just looking, watching for headlights. And we're going through Cookville, just doing the speed limit. I'd done slowed down after we got up into town, and I wasn't going to get pulled over. What Paul didn't know was the guy had rolled up in a yellow cab, and I saw that when he first got out. But Paul didn't know that. And I'm thinking, man, is he still chasing us? I kept, like agging it on, like asking him, is he back there? Is he back there? Which way do I need to go? And Paul couldn't even tell us how to get back to the interstate. His sense of direction is about like my wife's. or any woman for that matter, not just my wife. I'm sure some of you guys' wives have no sense of direction. But anyway, we decided, hey, I'm going to IHOP. It's 2:00 in the morning. I've just had a gun pulled on me. I'm stressed out. My blood pressure's up. Paul's scared to death.
And of course, the first thing on my mind is when he said we're going to IHOP is, are you sure we'll be okay? Because this guy could come up and start shooting at us again.
Exactly. So guess what I did? I never let Paul know that he was in a yellow cab, so I just whip it around back wide open. Like, man, he will never see us parked back here. Like, he'll never notice. So anyway, we get out, and I was like, Paul, when we get out, I want you to run in the front door right here. I'm right behind you. Well, we get out, and Paul takes off, and he's wide open to the door.
And the first thing this gentleman that says when we're in there is, are y'all on the run? Y'all look like you're trying to hide from something.
Actually, the guy thought we was about to rob him, I thought, because we had parked around back, and Paul runs in the IHOP wide open. I'd say it's more like a 5.40, but I didn't have a sundial in it. I think his shadow outrun him. But anyway, so we get in there, and the guy's just, he's kind of gay looking. I don't know if you've ever been there, but the one in Cookville, they had a gay guy for a while that worked the night shift. And as good looking as Paul is, he worked us up some free pancakes, and man, this dude was loading us up with extra sausage links.
And some ice cream, and just first
he even gave Paul some ice cream, and sit down beside Paul for like 30 minutes.
And the gentleman gave me a hug, and then I was even more frightened than I was after being practically shot at.
Yeah, and we ended up telling him the story, and he goes, this guy's so nice that at 1:00 in the morning, of course it's all glass, you could see us sitting in there, but he's nice enough to go to the front door and lock it for us so Paul can calm down, and offer to hide us in the back until the police arrived. But I had done told the guy that, hey, nobody's chasing us because he was in a cab and all this, but Paul is still tripping out.
The guy just kind of goes along with the act.
All the way to Gordonsville, Paul was looking through the back. Man, are you sure they're not chasing us? But I know Paul said a minute ago his first worry when we rode up to IHOP was whether the guy was chasing us or not. I really don't think that was it. I think Paul was worried about what he could get on $4 because he was asking me what all IHOP served before we actually got in the IHOP. And he's running to the door. What do they got to eat,
Because what he fails to tell you is I had lost my only $8 I had on a daggum game of pool, losing to a chick losing to a chick that had a Coke bottle booty.
She did have a big butt. I'll give her that. Her name was Lacey. What was it?
Lexi, yeah.
Lexi. I actually played a partner with her and finished second in Manchester. She played pretty good, Paul. But anyway, the story behind that is we're sitting over before the drunk guy gets there, of course. The tournament was already over, and I told Paul, I said, how much money you got left? He'd been gambling $1 or $2 here and there with some of the old men in there.
And I had $8 at the time.
So here's what I did. I thought, man, Paul ain't going home with money. So I take $8 out of my pocket, and I said, hey, here's $8. I'll put up against your $8. Pick anybody in here that you want to play, and pick any game. I said, I'll back them. So Paul goes over and he asks the girl with the big ass if she wants to play a game of 8-ball for $8. She's gambling against me. I'm backing her, right? I'd never met this girl at the time. I didn't know if she could play or not. But anyway, I'm sitting over there by the wall, just by myself. I look over,
and the truth of the matter is, I don't know if he's going to tell the story, but I'm going to tell you the truth. Though I had totally dominated this chick in this game of pool, and then I scratch on the 8-ball and get beat myself, and then I pitch a fit and just throw my pool stick case in the floor, and I'm like, Rusty, you set me up. This is a bunch of crap.
His face was red, man.
I was mad because I just scratched on the 8.
Really mad. Anyway, old Paul lost $8 to a girl that didn't even know how to play. That's just bad luck. We can't all be winners, Paul.
I know, but that night was very memorable though, because I lose $8 to a chick can't play. We get shot at by a drunk guy, and I'll have to say, as long as I live, this will be a night I'll never forget.
Oh Lord, Paul tickles me to death. I've had some good times up in that pool hall in Cookville. And it's not really a wild place. It was just one night there was a drunk man with a gun. If he wouldn't have had a gun, it would have been a whole different story. And, well, we wouldn't be sitting here telling you about it right now, though. So sometimes the bad things in life turn out to be good.
Yeah, it gives you more stories to tell your audiences.
Anyway, I noticed the funny thing was the next day I get on my Facebook and it says Paul Daniel Martin and Rod Michaels are now friends. And Rod Michaels was the guy from the IHOP. So him and Paul had something going on there for a while. I'm not real sure. Were y'all gay lovers at one time?
No, we've never done nothing like that. You know better than this crowd. I mean, we've been hanging out for years. You know I ain't got no personal problems on the side.
I don't know that.
Because you know my mom and my dad. My dad.
Well,
Just listen, man. My dad would beat me so bad that I wouldn't be able to walk the next day if he found out I'd done some crap like that. So I wouldn't be able to live with myself. Trust me.
I don't know how people live with you, to be honest with you.
To tell you the truth, I just found a new girlfriend. So don't be telling that. She may be watching this in the background.
Tell us about your new girlfriend, Paul. Is she hot? First off.
I feel
remember,
like
she might be watching. So if you say she's ugly like you did last night, I'm just kidding.
This is him that said that. I think you're a beautiful woman.
Pour your heart out to her right now, buddy. If you could tell her one thing, and you're laying on your deathbed and you're about to die, and you got to tell this girl one thing, what would you tell her?
Ashley, if I could tell you one thing, and I'm on my deathbed, I just want you to tell you that the little bit of time I've known you, I've just poured my heart out to you, and I want you to know that I'm a caring man, and I love you with everything I've got in me.
There you go, buddy. That's how you do it. But
And
last night on the video, you said one thing that really caught my attention. And we were talking about Dolly Parton. And I've watched Dolly since I was little, and she sang A Coat of Many Colors. Dolly's got some melons, right? And you mentioned the fact that your little woman has bigger boobs than Dolly Parton. Is that a true statement? You said your exact statement was, "My woman has large ones." What constitutes large boobs?
ones that you can't fit in your hands.
Have you ever put this girl's boobs in your hands?
Not yet, but I have seen some pictures and they're large.
So she's seen some pictures of her boobs.
No, she hasn't. But what I'm trying to say is I'm very proud to have this woman, and I'm going to compliment. I'm going to compliment her body. I'm going to compliment my woman's body, and she's a lot better than Dolly Parton.
Well, I commend your effort, Paul.
Because let me tell you one thing.
It's hard to believe a woman's got bigger boobs than Dolly Parton.
Well, let me just say this. Dolly Parton, she's getting a little old, and if it wasn't for all the wigs and all the makeup and all this shit, she'd look like crap. But my woman is actually a decent-looking girl.
What if Dolly Parton herself is listening on this live audio cast here? This webcast here.
Well, Dolly Parton, if you're listening, I'd say that you need to do away with the wigs and just stay your natural self because, I mean, I understand you're getting old and everything, but we all can't be beautiful.
Do you consider yourself beautiful?
No, I'm not beautiful, but I do have a good heart.
A good personality, it goes a long way. But if you make a girl laugh, if you could tell one joke to make this girl laugh right now, you know any joke? I'm going to give you a line. This is what you tell her.
Let me think about this just a minute. I've heard something that...
You know how I got my wife?
There was these two gentlemen. There's these two gentlemen, people. They was in this boat this one time, going down the road, or down the river, I would say.
They're going down the road in a boat. Keep that in mind.
They're getting
pulled by a fucking truck. That's all I need to know.
They're going down the road in this boat in the water and everything, and everybody done told this one feller that's in the boat with this other feller. He said, "Now you know this gentleman here. He's got some problems and everything. So I would prefer you just go ahead and jump. I'm gonna tell you, you need to jump." Well, anyway, the guy didn't jump, and there was a few more gentlemen come in the boat later on, and he told them, he said, "Now y'all should jump."
You forgot to tell them.
Well, they didn't. They didn't jump. So finally, this guy says, "If you're not going to jump, I'm just going to shove it up you." And he shoves it up them, and then then these guys they just jump clear out of the boat. And he's like, "I told y'all to jump. Y'all wouldn't listen."
That joke made no sense to me, but
I don't know, but it was a start.
Here's what I want you to do, Paul. When you wake up in the morning, the first thing I want you to tell y'all lady, I want you to wake up and say, "Man, I run 4 miles this morning." She's gonna be like, "Man, Paul's trying to get in shape," and then you'll be like, "I just finally told that woman she keep her purse." I was gonna say how long it took you to get that joke, but anyway, have you got any more stories you'd like to tell?
I think I'll give you the floor and let you do a little talking.
I want to know your most embarrassing moment in life in general. Ain't got to do with pool or pool halls or whatever. What is your most embarrassing moment? Because I remember one time, I got a funny one. I remember it very well. I just want to see if your funny moments matches up with mine.
Oh, I know what moment you're thinking about. It was pretty darn embarrassing.
Was it the most embarrassing in your life? That's all I need to know.
Let me think about this just a minute, because I'm going to have to give some thoughts.
But we ain't got long relying on the air. I mean, dead air gets no listeners.
I'll just go ahead and tell the story just to get me off the air so you people ain't waiting. We had been in Jeff Hackett's pool hall one night, and
he might be watching, by the way. Hey, Jeff, if you out there.
We'd been in Jeff Hackett's pool hall one night, and at the time I was living in I think Carthage or something, and I needed to ride home. Of course, it was a cold night. It'd been snowing. It was pretty wet out, so I didn't feel like walking to Carthage, but I needed to ride home anyway. And Speck and Mr. Burton here, they decided they were going to give me a ride home. But they said we ain't got enough room in the front for your ride, so you'll have to get hot in the back. So I hopped back there in the back of this truck, and they give me a ride home, and I'm on this wet ass rug, and I get out of the daggum vehicle, and my butt is just wetter than wet can be, and then they begin to laugh, and I'm like, that is so wrong, man.
I'm gonna tell my version of this story. The story is Paul Martin asked me for a ride every day for about 2 weeks to take him home. At the time, I was living in South Carthage, and he still lived in Goreville. And it was just kind of out of my way to take him home. But I didn't mind it. I just didn't want to let him know that. And Speck lived up on the hill behind me in some apartments. So Paul comes, they asked me for a ride, and I said, I look outside, and it's snowing a little bit. Sleep. I felt bad for him, so I said, yeah, Paul, I'll let you go, but you get a ride in the back. And I had an extended cab F-350. They had plenty of room up front. It had a heck of a heater on it. And old Paul gets ready to get in my car, and he opens the door. I said, no, Paul, I sit in the back, like in the bed of the truck. So anyway, he never hesitated. I was going to let him ride up front, but since his dumb ass just climbed in the bed of the truck and sat on a wet rug, then I just let him ride back there. So instead of taking him home, Speck goes, man, I ain't ready to go home yet. Let's ride around a little while. I said, all right, man, let's do it. So anyway, we drive all the way to my house, and the whole time I'm looking in the back, and Paul's confused because he knows that ain't the way home. He lives in Goreville, and I live in Carthage. So we go to my house, and we get a video camera, right? And we open up the back glass, and it's warm up in the cab. I got my video camera, and we're driving over Bradford Hill, and Paul goes, man, this ain't the way home. Speck goes, you probably know where we are, do you? He said, no. Paul said, we're going over, Speck said, we're going over Bradford Hill, Paul. And Paul didn't have a clue where we was at, so that's how I know his sense of direction is horrible.
And at the whole time, I was beating on the back window trying to get in because I was freezing at this point in time.
But anyway, we didn't let him in. We wind up with a 6-pack of beer at Dusty Keaton's living room, right? Dusty's dead asleep. And we're sitting in Dusty's living room over in Hickman. And he wakes up at 2 o'clock in the morning. Paul's done drunk. Right, so he's up making sandwiches and stuff. Just goes in Dusty's kitchen and starts making him a sandwich, drinking out of a 2-liter like I do. And Dusty wakes up and he comes in there and he's rubbing his eyes and he goes, what the hell is Paul Martin doing in my living room? And just, man, it was a good night. I actually thought we'd run into Dustin Prophet and some little girl. Do you remember that little girl's name?
Not really.
He was sitting over there on the couch and they know it. Plasmin girls.
Oh, you talking about Mandy or was it
Yeah,
Sarah
I don't
or
know
what?
which one it was. There's too many of them.
It would have had to have been Mandy or Sarah or one of the others.
Anyway, we tried hooking Paul up and failed miserably, but anyway, we threw Paul in the front and took him home after that. We laid right up front with us, but that was a good night too. But that wasn't the most embarrassing moment I remember. I was thinking maybe you was going to say when you were swimming through the sign at the Salina game maybe. Or?
No, actually, if y'all want to know my most embarrassing moment, I was over to Fan's house one night.
That explains a lot.
And
it's can't be good.
Well, of course it can't, but it's the most embarrassing. You told me to tell it, so I'll tell it.
Well, go ahead and tell it.
I was over to Fan's house one night, and of course, Jonathan's had this girlfriend. She was a little off anyway, and well, me and Cody Fan and Josh Potts, which that explains it, boys and girls, because y'all know Josh Potts. At times he can be a little cranky, but me and Josh Potts and Cody Fan, we decided that we had a couple bottles of some Crown, and they also had some beer and stuff, and I don't know how it got happen, but they got the idea, Paul, you're gonna drink a whole bottle of this Crown straight, and we ain't gonna let you mix it with nothing. Well,
it's a good idea.
Well, I drank the first bottle. Evidently, my crazy ass hadn't had enough.
I mean, are we talking a big bottle, a pint? I mean, what are we talking?
Well, my sense of measurements are not hardly too good. So all I know is it was probably about the size of this right here, people. Probably that kind of bottle. And
don't be picking my toe later up in the morning.
I'm just showing our audience. And it was probably about that size. And anyway, I drank that one bottle, and I decided for some crazy reason this ain't enough. So they're like, Paul, if this ain't enough, then you want some more? And I'm like, yeah, I want some more. So I get the second bottle, about the same size as the first one, and I drink it, and then next thing I know, I'm done fell out. I done fell out and blacked out. I don't remember nothing the rest of the night. And they were like, oh, we have some photos of you in the nude with your underwear, waving it over your head. So, anyway, that was bad.
Who took the pictures is all I didn't know. I'm curious as to who seen you naked.
Well, all the gentlemen that were there, they claimed they seen me naked, waving the underwear over my head. Anyway, somehow or another, I done got my underwear and everything back on, and I was ready to go to the couch and go to sleep, and then Jonathan's girlfriend at the time, Miss Jessica, she gets the idea that she's gonna shove this butt plug into my mouth.
A butt plug? Was it her butt plug?
Evidently, and she shoves this into my mouth. Of course, I'm so drunk. I don't know where I'm at, and I can't do anything about it.
It's supposed to be a family show, and you're talking about butt plugs.
I'm sorry.
I'll keep going. I ain't gonna stop.
I'm sorry. I'll just stop the nonsense.
You just keep on talking, buddy. You're doing a great job.
Anyway, do you or any other audience callers have any questions? I'm taking questions.
How are they gonna ask you a question?
I thought they were calling in on this show.
Well, they can call in. If you want to call in and ask Paul Martin a question, call 615-278-6225. But I'm still curious about this butt plug. Did you put the butt plug in your mouth?
I didn't put it in my mouth. I had it shoved in my mouth. I think Mr. Jonathan Fan is the one shoved it in my mouth.
And you hang out with this guy. You still go to his house with your friends?
No, I don't still go to his house because he now lives in Portland. He's married.
But you would go to his house if they lived down the road.
I think we had kind of a falling out, but I did hang out with his brother, Mr. Cody Fan, here lately.
What was this falling out about? I mean, tell us about it.
Well, we
make
just
amends here, Paul. He might be listening too.
We just hadn't hung out much in a while, and I think evidently, Mr. Fan, you've gotten to where you love your wife, and I understand that, but bros come before women, though. I mean, you got to make.
That's not the actual term. It's bros before hoes, and you know it. So just say it right.
Well, I'm not going to say that because he might be listening, his wife might be listening. It's a family show.
Yeah, and we talking about butt plugs and all this stuff.
Anyway,
family oriented.
For our family audiences, can we please pick another topic?
Well, you're the one that picked that topic anyway, bud.
Well, let's choose another.
Well, you go ahead and pick one. What would you like to talk about next?
You're supposed to be the host of this. Why don't you include some chat too?
You're the star of the show, buddy, not me. I'm just the brains behind this operation.
Well, talk a little bit. Let the audience know how you feel.
How I feel? I feel like you're a moron. That's how I feel right now. I'm questioning whether I ought to be hanging out with you putting butt plugs in your mouth. That's how I feel.
But this wasn't me, though. This was me drunk, laying out on the floor, and somebody shoving it down my mouth.
I was actually sitting here looking for a picture I got of you, and you was actually drunk, passed out on the ground, and you looked like you pissed all over yourself.
I know who gave you that picture.
Who would that be?
That'd be that crazy Brandon Cherry.
What do you think?
And this dog getting on my back. Ow. Ow. Get off me.
This is a family show, dog.
You're not a part of this dang family. Or you are, and you're just not included in the show.
Well, I can't find the picture that's making me mad, because it is one of the funniest pictures you ever seen in your life.
It's been a hard show, so can we? I don't know if we should continue or what, but I'm a little wore out.
Paul's running out of ideas, and man, my mind's going 100 miles an hour thinking about this butt plug and stuff. I appreciate you tuning in, and we'll be here. We'll probably be here all week. We're gonna do this at random times, just whenever. I'm gonna try to record them all. That way we can just rebroadcast. You can go in there and watch them whenever you want. Paul, you got any good sign off lines like Ron Burgundy or anything? First, I want to send a shout out. I want to let everybody know my thoughts and prayers are going out to Johnny Washington. Somebody's been sending these old lady wiener pictures, and man, it's just a terrible situation. At first, I thought maybe it was Paul Martin or maybe somebody that used to be a former cellmate of Johnny's, but I don't know, man. I just want to let you know I'm thinking about you, buddy, and I hope the wiener pics stop soon. And what's your sign off line?
Well, we would like for y'all to stay tuned in for more episodes still to come. And for now, goodbye. And we hope you enjoyed the show.
Stay classy. Are you sure that's it? That's all you're going to say?
Yeah, that's about it.
All right, buddy. We'll be here next week.